안녕하세요, 여러분. 오늘은 GS Federal Government 지원하는 이력서 영상을 한번 찍어보려고 하는데요. 이번 영상이 여러분들에게 많은 도움이 되었으면 좋겠어요. 그리고 혹시나 더 궁금하신 점이나 알고 싶으신 부분은 댓글을 통해서 알려주시면 저희가 또 다른 영상을 한번 만들어 보도록 할게요. 그럼 재밌게 시청해주세요.
Hello, everyone. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about how you can apply to a U.S. federal government job. Just in case you missed the last video, there'll be a link to it in the description below. But in the last video, we talked a little bit about GS jobs, and we received some comments requesting on us to make a video about how to write federal resumes. So that's something I wanted to talk about today. But before we do that, I wanted to show you here that this is the website that you would go to find federal jobs. So it's, as you can see at the top, it says usajobs.gov. And here you can search by job title, department, agency. If you don't write anything in here and hit the search button, it'll give you more filters you can choose from. So let's say, for example, I work for the IRS, which falls under the Department of Treasury. So if I wanted to search only for jobs for the IRS, I would go department and agency. And then I can scroll down here and I can find the Department of Treasury right here. If I click on that, it'll only show jobs within the Department of Treasury. So if we skip over to this job vacancy announcement, so let's say I wanted to, for example, apply to this executive assistant position. I'm sure you guys are familiar with the website, but if you look here on the right hand side, you can see the GS pay scale, the salary, the location of the job, and over here under duties, it says what the job entails. So basically, what type of work you'll be doing. It says the work schedule, etc. So the important thing when you apply for a job, you want to focus on the qualification section. So if you look here, it says specialized experience, and this is the thing that you want to base your resume off on. When you write a federal resume, you always want to make sure that you tailor the resume to every single job you apply to, because they look for specific information in your resume and they check to see if it matches with the specialized experience in the job vacancy announcement. So if we look here, I'm going to highlight the important part you should be focusing on. So qualifying specialized experience includes performing administrative and clerical duties, managing schedules, making appointments and coordinating meetings, gathering data, and preparing responses to requests, assigning and tracking action items, and creating and reviewing report. So if you look in any job vacancy announcement, it'll have this qualification section, and under the qualification section, it'll say specialized experience. You want to make sure that your resume includes the experience under this section. So with that said, I went ahead and created a sample resume based on the job vacancy announcement that I just talked about. When you're writing a federal resume, it's a bit different when you compare it to a regular resume you would write for the private sector. There's certain information that you need to make sure you include in the resume, or else your resume will just be thrown away. They won't even look at it. So first, the resume format doesn't have to follow this. It just needs to be a simple format and easy to read. First, at the top, if you look here, you put your name. It doesn't matter the font. It just needs to be simple and easy to read. You put your name, you put your address, so phone number, your email address, and then some vacancy announcements ask you to put your citizenship because they only hire US citizens. So when I apply to any job vacancy announcement, I just make sure to include this whether they require it or not. It's just something good to include. Usually with the private sector resumes, they have like a section at the top before the experience that gives sort of like a summary of your work experience, for example, like, oh, I manage time well, 10 years of experience of such and such. But with the federal resumes, they're just gonna skip over that, so there's no point in including that. If you look here, so this is the first job work experience that we're gonna use. position name, quality inspector specialist, and you want to include the company name, so employer, and then ABC company. You want to include your supervisor's name, email address, phone number, and it's good to include whether or not hiring manager can contact this manager because they're going to want to do reference checks. So like for here, I put may contact so they can contact this person whether through email or phone number. Another important thing you want to include is your salary. So I would just put the yearly salary, the gross salary that you made. Another important thing is you want to include the dates that you worked at this position. So I don't think it has to be specific to the exact day that you started working, but you want to at least include the month and the year. And I think that should be fine. And last, you want to include whether this was full-time or part-time. So I put full-time, 40 hours a week, which is full-time. And after that top section, you want to write your accomplishments. So I like to do this in bullet format, so it's just easier for them to read. Usually, whether private sector or public sector, the hiring manager is going to want to see what you've accomplished. So this is different from the duties and your responsibilities. This is what you've accomplished. So for example, within this position, you could say, I demonstrated exceptional cost-saving expertise, leading to a remarkable $126,000 expense reduction for the company within the initial 3 months of duty. So it's good to include concrete numbers like this. So $126,000 within 3 months. So that's something that's really easy to gauge. You want to be as specific as possible with this. You can pause the video and read through these accomplishments. So again, $250,000, it's a concrete number. And then here's another one. Created and maintained a comprehensive, user-friendly Excel spreadsheet to track total budgetary expenses and reimbursements, earning approval and official praise from senior management. So this is a good section to include for HR and for the hiring manager to see that you are like an outstanding employee. So the next section is duties, and this is when you're going to start tailoring your resume to the specific job vacancy announcement that you want to apply to. So let's look at the first. Here in all capital, I have coordinating meeting. And where I got that from is if we go back here to the job vacancy announcement, I pull certain keywords. So like coordinating meetings from here. So what you want to do is you want to pull certain keywords from the announcement, put it into your resume, and make it so that it's easy for the HR specialist or for the hiring manager to see where you're saying that you qualify for this announcement and where you qualify because you have the specialized experience. So if we go back to the resume here, I'm specifically giving examples of how I qualify for this job. So orchestrated monthly occupational safety and health administration meetings, demonstrating strategic planning in selecting suitable locations, times, and dates. And you can continue to read through that. You can pause the video if you'd like. And here on the back, this is continuing the coordinating meetings part. All right, and moving on to the next position. So the next position we have here is an administrative technician. Again, the same thing, employer name, supervisor, salary, the dates and how many hours you worked. And then again, moving on to the next page, you have your accomplishments here at the top with concrete numbers. And if we move down to the duty section, we have here in all caps, managing schedules. And going back to the vacancy announcement, managing schedules right here. So managing schedules. So I pulled this, brought it to my resume, made it in all cap for the HR to see it easily. And I gave examples of how I manage schedules, showing that I qualify for this job. So that's the most important part. You want to make sure that you're pulling words, keywords from the specialized experience, and you want to put that into your resume, and you want to give examples of how you manage schedules or how you perform clerical duties, how you made appointments or coordinated meetings and stuff like that. And if we move on to the end of the resume. I have my education here, so University of such and such, bachelor's in such and such, the dates that I went to the university, my GPA, and whether I achieved superior academic achievement. So to wrap things up, you want to make sure that you follow the federal resume format. When you look at the job vacancy announcement, it'll say what to include in your resume. So let's say, for example, for the IRS, your resume has to be less than 5 pages. If it goes above 5 pages, then they won't read your resume after the 5th page. So just make sure you follow this format. All right, and that's all I have for today. Good luck with your job applications. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below and we'll get back to you. Thank you.
그래서 앞서 이제 젠붕이가 얘기했던 거를 제가 전반적으로 정리를 해서 말씀을 드리자면 이제 첫 번째는 양식에 맞춰서 이력서를 가지런히 정리하는 게 첫 번째 목표. 양식이 빠져 있으면 그 이력서는 이제 선택되기 어렵다는 점. 그리고 두 번째는 내 실적 이런 거에 관해서 적을 때 숫자를 활용해서 내가 몇 퍼센트 실적을 냈고 이렇게 해서 우리 팀은 몇 퍼센트의 성과를 얻었다. 이런 식으로 숫자를 활용해서 이력서에 적으시는 게 굉장히 중요하고요. 그리고 마지막 세 번째는 USA 잡에 올라와 있던 그 키워드가 이제 내 이력서에 적는 그 키워드랑 잘 매치가 돼야 된다는 거예요. 처음에 저희가 잡을 지원을 할 때 그 이력서를 검토하는 게 사람이 아니라 이제 컴퓨터라고 하거든요. 그래서 컴퓨터는 입력된 값에 그거를 골라내기 때문에 저희가 올바른 키워드를 사용하지 않으면 거기서 이제 살아남기는 쉽지 않겠죠. 그래서 이 세 가지를 꼭 한번 지원하실 때 참고하시고 꼭 한번 활용해 보셨으면 좋겠어요. 그리고 영상에서는 젠부이가 언급을 안 했었는데 젠부이가 지원한 그간 많은 직업들 중에 같은 이력서를 한 번도 사용한 적이 없어요. 매번 지원할 때 이력서를 새로 썼거든요. 그 이유는 그 잡에서 요구하는 키워드가 또 달라지기 때문인데요. 그래서 똑같은 이력서를 활용해서 여러 가지 잡을 지원을 하는 게 아니라 한 가지의 잡을 지원할 때 하나의 이력서를 사용하시고 뭐 폼은 항상 똑같아도 되겠죠. 하지만 그 몇 퍼센트의 성과라던가 아니면은 그 키워드라던가 이런 거는 조금 다르게 하셔가지고 지원하시는 거를 강력 추천드립니다. 안녕.